Hey people, welcome back to the channel. Today it's Osereme back here, and in this video today we're going to be sewing this beautiful three-part corset top. So if you're interested in knowing how to make this for yourself, you definitely want to keep on watching this video. And if you're not subscribed, please hit on the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. Let's get started. So guys, in my previous video I shared with you guys how to draft this pattern. It's a very detailed tutorial, so you need to check out that video to know how to draft this pattern for yourself. So I already drafted out this pattern, and for the back piece I went ahead to fold it in a little bit because I'm not going to be attaching a zipper. This is going to be a loop at the back, so that's why I folded it in to cut it out. So that's just the only difference I have on here, and you can see that all the way around I added about ½ an inch stitching allowance to all my patterns. So this is all the patterns I'll be needing to make this top. So guys, firstly we're going to work on our cups. So as you can see, I'm just arranging them in place, and I like to actually make use of my patterns when I'm arranging my pieces, because I've noticed that in the past when I'm trying to make corsets like this, I end up mixing up the patterns and the cups end up coming out flat. So that's why I'm actually putting back all the patterns right in place, just trying to arrange every single one of my cup according to how they're supposed to be, just where they're supposed to be, so that I know which part goes to which part. So I'll advise that when you are trying to arrange your pieces, especially when you have cut it out, it's really hard for you to recognize which part actually goes to which part. So it's just best you put all your pieces back together and just arrange the patterns on them so that you know which part is for which part. So right now I know this part goes together like this, so what I'm just going to do is to hold it in with my pin, and after this we're just going to head over to the sewing machine and stitch down that edge with about ½ an inch. So guys, this is what the two pieces looks like after I was done stitching them down, and I had to make sure that I also know which part is going to be stitched to the end of the upper part. So I'm trying to also arrange that perfectly in place so that you know how it's supposed to be, because the shape is different. So if you get the shape wrongly, your cup will not come out. It will not have that hole, like that cage for your boob to sit. So now I've arranged it how it's supposed to be. I'm just going to pin it down as you see me doing like this. Just pin it down. If you are having trouble with arrangement, you can always just bring back your patterns, arrange them in place, and I hope that you actually give them that numbering just the same way I did mine. It will just save you a lot of stress. So when you stitch it down properly, you will actually realize that there is a space inside for your boob to sit, which is exactly what I have right now. So I'm just going to head over to the sewing machine and stitch this down, and I will do it for the other cup as well. So guys, the two cups are ready. So this is what you get when you stitch it down perfectly well. You actually have that space inside for your boob to sit. So now we're going to leave this aside, and we're going to work on the center front and the side front pieces. So I just went ahead to pin the dart area together as you see me doing like this. So I'm going to head over to the sewing machine and stitch it down here and here on this other part. So guys, I'm done with that, and I also went ahead to iron out my seam flat. So the next thing I want to do is to have boning casing up here, and I went ahead to iron this out as well, like a bias. So I'm going to be using this other piece of fabric for my boning casing. So I'm just going to pin it down here as you see me doing like this. I'll pin it on the both dart area. So guys, we are just going to stitch it here and here, and after I was through with that, this is what I had. It's all neat and clean. Now we're going to place our cup, and if you look back at our pattern, you realize that side 2 goes towards the center. So ensure that side 2 of your cup is going towards the center, and side 2 is basically the shorter part of the cup. So I arranged that, and I'm just pinning it down like you see me doing like this. And if you arrange it properly, actually you will see that when you pin it down, it stays perfectly. You will see that there will be no excess or anything like that. If there is an excess, that means you probably made a mistake somewhere. So you see how this came out perfectly, no excess or anything. So this is how it will look if you actually stitch it properly. So I'm just going to head over to the sewing machine now and stitch this in place, and I'll do it for the other cup. So guys, since I'm not using a ready-made cup, this is a new technique I saw on Instagram. So I just basically cut out this breast pad using the same pattern I had, but I didn't add any stitching allowance to this. So I just cut it out, and I'm just joining it together with my zigzag stitch, as you see me doing like this. So when you're through, you just have something that looks exactly like a cup. So what I'm doing now, this is my first time trying this out, and it actually came out nice. So I'm just pinning it down all the way around, as you see me doing like this. So I pinned it down for this cup, and I'll just do the same thing for the other cup as well. Just place it inside and pin it down. So now, if you do not have a machine that can do zigzag stitching, if you're patient enough, you can just join this together with your hands. But if you're not, you can actually just join it to all the pieces before you start stitching it together. All is going to actually come out the same way, as long as you join the right pieces to each other. So for this, this is how I decided to do this, and it came out nice. So I'm just going to head over to the sewing machine now and just stop stitch on this like this to keep my cup in place. So guys, after I was done with that, you can see how it looks. So the cups are staying perfectly where they're supposed to be, which is beautiful. Now I'm going to just join the back pieces to the front. So I just place them right sides facing each other, as you see me doing like this, and I'm just pinning down the sides, and you can see that there's a space in the middle. That's because we're going to be putting a loop through this, so we need a space in the middle. So I'm just going to head over now and stitch this down with 1.5 inch. So guys, I've stitched down the both sides, and you can see that something is popping up here. I'm just going to cut it off, as you see me doing like this. Just blend it to meet the other part, and we'll do the same thing for the other side as well. So for the back piece, I decided to cut a little bit more out of it, and then I'm just going to fold my bias and add one more boning casing here, and then add one here as well. Then I will just repeat everything I've done on this actual fabric on the lining pieces. So I've done it. So this is the lining piece, and you can see this is the actual fabric. These are the other new boning casings I added. You can notice that I actually left a little bit of space here, so we're going to be needing that later. So you leave a little bit of space at the end when you are doing that boning thing. So the next thing I went ahead to do was to make this. I folded in a piece of fabric, and I'm just cutting it out using my strap. I measured out how long my straps were going to be on my body, and it's actually 13 inches. So this is 13 inches long. So before I place my lining piece on it, I'm just going to measure my cup, half of it, and I'm going to place one of my strap right here. I'm going to pin it down, and I'll do the same thing on this other cup as well. Take half of my cup, which is 3 inches, and I'll just place this here as well. And then from the side seam, as you see me doing like this, from the side seam I'm going to take another 3 inches. So I'll just place the other part of the strap right there and pin it down, and then I'll do the exact same thing for the other side as well. So now we're just going to place our lining piece right on it like this, right sides facing each other, and I'm just going to pin it down all the way around the top. So now we're just going to head over to the sewing machine and stitch it all the way around to the end with about half of an inch. So guys, this is what you would have when you're through stitching it down. So I'm just going to cut a little bit away from the top, as you see me doing like this, and then I'm just going to make notches all the way around. When you're through, you're just going to open it down like this, and I'm going to head over to the sewing machine again. I'm going to top stitch towards the lining all the way around. So after making my top stitch, this is what I had. Very pretty, and you can see that we're almost done with this. But now the next thing I'm going to do is to place my boning through all the casings that I have. So basically I'm just placing it like you see me doing like this. So when it gets to the end, you're just going to shift it out a little bit and cut it, and then push it right into it again, so that you have some space at the end for you to stitch on when joining the ends of the top together. So just ensure that you have a little bit of space at the end of the boning casing when you place the boning. So right now I am ensuring that there's a space at the end of everything. So we just flip it over like this, right sides facing each other, and we're going to stitch it down. So it's stitched down, very pretty, and you can see that this is looking like a reversible top. So if we use another piece of fabric for the back, then we would have been able to wear this reversibly. Now the only thing left is for us to do the loop part of this. So I already created the rope, and then I went ahead to cut out these to use for the loop. It's actually 2 inches long each. So what I'm going to do now, how I'm going to do this loop, is we're going to just top stitch on it. So I'm going to head over to the ironing board, and I'm going to fold this part in like this. I'm going to fold it up like this, as you see me doing like this, and iron it folded. So I'll do it for the both part, iron the both lining and the actual fabric folded, so that I can easily place my loop like this in, and then top stitch on it. So guys, see how neat this looks even without stitching it yet. So this is what we have. Now we can actually put our loops through it. So I'll just fold it in like this, as you see me doing like this, and I'm just going to place it right at the end like this, and I'm going to pin it down. After that, I decided that the distance between each loop, I wanted it to be 1.5 inch. So I'm marking 1.5 inch all the way to the end of this top. So the next thing I'm just going to do is to just fold my loops and place them at that point where I have all my marks, and I'm just going to pin them down as well. So I'm going to head over to the sewing machine now and top stitch on this, and I will do it for the other side as well. So this is it. I've done it for the both side and I've stitched it down. So you see how neat it looks. And I told you, like I told you, if you want to make this a reversible top, you can totally do it, and it will come out really cute as well. So this is what I have. I'm just going to place my loop through it, just lace my loop, and that will basically be all for this top. And for your information guys, the materials I use for making this top are just scrap fabrics that would have not normally been thrown away. I just decided no, I hate throwing away pieces, and I just feel there is always something you can do with them. So you can see what I was able to do with these two different pieces of fabric. Came out so beautiful. So thank you so much for watching this video today. I hope you find it helpful, and I actually hope that you try it out. If you find it helpful, please hit on the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, and don't forget to share with friends. I will see you guys in my next one.